Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge Wurundjeri country, as that is where this podcast is recorded, and extend this acknowledgement to all First Nations peoples, past, present, and emerging. This podcast takes a holistic approach on community building and knowledge sharing that I hope you can utilise in your life. Let's do this.
Morning light and coffee black. Lesson plans are on the stack. Ready for the students' track. Gonna find our groove.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stranger in the Staff Room, where myself, Zoe Zammit, or as the kiddos call me, Miss Zammit, I am a first-time teacher sharing lifelong stories. Now, I am testing out a new software to record and to edit and everything. So honestly, I'm trying it now because I've been so delayed in posting. I'm like, you know what? If something goes wrong, what's the difference? So yes, we're going to address the elephant in the room first and foremost. I have been away from this podcast for about 3 months. My last upload was the focus episode on permission to teach. So if you haven't watched that because, you know, you've ghosted the podcast the same as I have, feel free to go and listen to that. I think it was quite a good one. We had a lot of listener input included in that episode, which I'm rapt about. But yeah, this episode is going to be not scripted or even dot pointed. It's a lot of chit chat about where I've been. So it's been a year of Miss Summit. This is the end of term 4. Like, this was an idea when this podcast started, and now it's a reality. And I'm that tired that it doesn't sound like I'm excited, but I'm so excited and proud of myself. And I can't wait to share that with you all. But yeah, before I do, grab a tea, grab a coffee, do whatever it is you do to get relaxed, and we'll get back into it.
Every day we learn and grow, setting minds all in a row, teaching them what they need to know, feeling that we're smooth.
All right, so before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to say that there was meant to be a 12-month episode. Oopsie daisies. I had these big ideas of it being like this massive montage of 12 months of Stranger in the Staff Room, one whole year, and it was going to build up to this, you know, big promotion, and it just didn't. There was technical difficulties in that area. I thought I downloaded all the clips correctly, and that didn't happen, and there was no way to download them a different way. So our beautiful editor, Kiara, couldn't do the vision, which is not her fault at all. That is 110% mine. And I think it's a really nice metaphor for my brain at the moment. So that is why there hasn't been an episode. But the build up to the promotion was going to be that for 365 days of Stranger in the Staff Room, there is going to be $3.65 shipping for the Teacher Detox Toolkit. So if you've been wanting to get one for the new year, instead of paying, I think it's $10 for shipping, you'll be paying $3.65 for shipping, which is a huge deal, especially because shipping really just gets you. Like, you think it's a good value and then bang, shipping. That's my experience anyway with online shopping. So if that's what's been stopping you from getting the Teacher Detox Toolkit, now there's nothing stopping you. And that is going to be a promotion between now, so when this video is uploaded, all the way until 2026. So you have until December 31st to get your copy of the physical Teacher Detox Toolkit with the promotion. Okie dokie. So where do I begin? The only place that makes sense is that I am so naive. Term 2, I posted a lot of things on this podcast and the social media pages like Instagram and all that about the term 2 blues. Imagine that on crack, and that's term 4. Oh my God, it's been insane. Basically, I got into term 4 and I was like, you know what? I'm ready. I know it's exam time. I know it's report writing time. I know how chaotic I was last time. I've got systems that I'm putting in place. I'm ready. But the issue was that term 2, I was still running on adrenaline, and it was sort of depleting. Whereas term 4, I'm out of adrenaline. And that made it really tough. I'm going to be honest. I finally realised why 50% of teachers pull out of the profession in the first 5 years. It was rough. Yeah, where do you even begin? It's got nothing to do with the kids, from my experience. It's got nothing to do with the kids. And a lot of the stresses of my job don't involve the kids. It's the admin behind making sure that those kids are getting the education that they need. Or at least the school can run to the level that it's expected to. So then that cycle can keep going. I remember saying in previous episodes that admin is my biggest downfall, and it really kicked me up the butt this time. I put in all the strategies to get my marking done for exams, and I was still a month behind. Yeah, a month behind. And this sort of leads me to, I guess, the one takeaway that if you are going into teaching for the first time, the one thing that I would love for you to take away from this episode is that it being your first year is a blessing and a curse. So what I mean when I say that is, for example, a lot of my colleagues have been saying that this is one of the hardest years that they've had to work as a teacher. And now, mind you, they taught in COVID. Like, they've gone through some rough times. And something about this year, I don't know if it's, nationwide, statewide, just our school, I don't know what it is, but something about this year has been extra tough. And they're like, this is the hardest I've worked in a long time. But because it's my first year, I've got nothing to compare it to. So if this is the hardest it's going to get, that's what I'm going to compare it to. And then that hopefully might mean that other years might be not necessarily easier, but I might be flinching for this massive explosion and it's just a little firecracker. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I've just been sort of pushing through, not knowing any better. And I think that's protected me in a lot of ways because I've just kept going because, again, I know no better. And I think that's why I haven't fully burnt out until this point in the year. But the flip of that coin is that it being my first year is a curse because, for example, the admin and the deadlines. Now, keep in mind, this is my first full-time job as well. All the deadlines and things, like, they creep up on you and you feel like you're juggling chainsaws with the amount of things you've got to just remember in your day-to-day. And then you write them down and then they're out of your mind so you forget about them. But they need to stay in your mind. Make it make sense, I don't know. Yeah, so, for example, I've been marking away. I've got these new strategies. I've been working with my psychologist to make sure that I've been working with my brain and not against it, especially with, my ADHD diagnosis. And I felt really good. I was, I had a couple of all-nighters, but I was like, you know what? This is so much better than last time. And technically, this time around with exams, I was marking an extra class because my year 7s didn't have a graded one last semester. And this one they did. So I was technically doing more and I felt better about it. So I was like, yes, go me. I'm such a queen. Take on the world. I'll be principal next year. Which is how my mind goes, unfortunately. And then I got talking to some of my mates and I'm like, oh my God, I know I'm so behind with my marking. And they're like, oh my God, same. And then we started talking and I just saw like the color drain from some of my friends' face when I was talking. And I was like, what's wrong? And they're like, you're behind. And I'm like, okay, we've all been saying that we're behind. And yeah, so am I. So what is the difference between your behind and my behind? And they sort of put it into perspective that I was really slow. Like, I was really slow. And they were like, why didn't you ask for help earlier? Why haven't you asked for help at all? And, like, I know they were doing it out of love, like, almost saying, like, we would help if we knew that you were drowning. But, of course, it stressed me out because I was like, well, I thought I was doing okay. Like, don't you hate that when you feel like you're on the right track for someone to sort of be like, no, honey, look down below. There are sharks. There's sharks in that water. Yeah, so that was quite stressful. But the reason I didn't ask for help was, number one, everyone was in the same boat. It wasn't like, I couldn't be like, hey, my stress is more important than yours. Do some of my work for me, please. Like, that's just how I saw it. And number two, I had nothing to compare it to. Whereas, like, these teachers, they would have been more behind in previous years, or they would have been more ahead in previous years. So they'd have something to compare to. Whereas I'm just learning how many papers I can get marked in a day. And it's more than last time. So I see that as a win. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that was really hard to hear that. And, you know, it's such, the theme for this year overall, just for me, not even as a teacher, just overall, is whiplash. Because coincidentally, in the same day as getting like the most heartfelt, deep and meaningful memory ever, like that I've experienced, I would have something really, really a slap in the face in the exact same day, matter of hours. And one of these was the week that's just gone, to be honest, where it was the last day with all of my students because they have their exam feedback day and then we start our orientation step up sort of period. So we technically teach next year's kids. I got to my desk in my free periods and someone was walking past my desk and they go, "Oh my God, is it your birthday?" And I was like, "No, mine was in September. Why?" They go, "Well, what's all this on your desk then?" And I was like, "Oh, these are gifts from my kids." And I was so rapt that this teacher was almost like, this teacher was shocked at how much love that I got. And it made me sort of be grateful as well because I was like, oh my God, this must be a lot. And then I sort of thought about it because a lot of these kids that did get me gifts, which mind you, never even as a joke insinuated a gift at all. And we're not just talking like a chocolate. We're talking like handmade cards. We're talking just little inside jokes that we've had in the class. They found something that shows that. And I sort of thought about it, and these were, like, at this point, mostly my year 7, year 8 kids. Now, these are ages 12 to 14, so these kids would have had to be like, "Hey mum, hey dad, can we go to the shops? Can I use your money to get my teacher something?" How beautiful is that? You can't tell me kids are selfish. They can be, but they're not inherently selfish. And it was just so beautiful to think that, like, they love me that much, and I love them too, but they love me that much that they've gone so far out of their way to get something for me. It was so beautiful. And in the same day, I'm getting told I'm behind and getting recommendations by people above me to stay back late, insinuating that I haven't been every day since I've started the job. Almost. It's rough. And look, in their defense, the school is so big that people don't see you in your day-to-day, and like it's easy to make those assumptions, especially when you see someone my age. Like my generation, unfortunately, is known for not doing much work. So I understand it, but at the same time, God, it stings. And it's made me realize how much in previous years I've relied on other people's perspective of me to shape my perspective of me. And I know it's going to be a long journey before that is overridden, but God, I didn't realize how much it overwhelmed me. And so this whiplash, anyway, the reason that I'm bringing this up is I'm doing in my therapy sessions, basically a lot of neurodivergent people will have black and white thinking or non-flexible thinking. So anything's either really, really awesome or really, really bad. And so my therapist and I have been trying to work on finding the grey. So knowing that there can be good and there can be bad in a situation. So all of these whiplash moments has been reminding me that there's a grey, and it's up to me to decide who I am in that space. And so I'm deciding that I'm not a good marker, but I'm a good teacher. And that's awesome. And I'm happy with that. It doesn't mean I'm not going to improve on getting those admin skills done. And even one of my colleagues said to me, which mind you, I've had a lot of colleagues that I didn't expect to offer comfort and reassurance, offer me comfort and reassurance, like random people. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't even know you knew my name. And they are. And I think that's really beautiful too. Like, I feel like a lot of new teachers don't feel like they have that community. So I am very grateful that I have that community where I work. And one of these surprising colleagues said to me, when I said the whole, oh, we're all in the same boat, like I wouldn't stress anyone out. She basically said, like, yes, we're all in the same boat, but that doesn't mean we manage the ship the same. And I was like, okay, elaborate, I suppose. And she basically said, like you look at this person in our office and they're done within 0.5 seconds. And then you've got other people that are chatting away and you're like, well, how are you chatting away? Like, am I using my time unwisely? Are you using your time unwisely? She goes, just got to stop comparing yourself to other people. And the worst thing that they can say if you ask for help is no. And yeah, I think and see, it's such a paradox because a lot of teachers or people that want to be teachers love people or love helping people, so they can be quite people-pleasy. But you can't be people-pleasy. Your boundaries need to be strong as a teacher. And then when they're not strong, you people-please. And then when you people-please, your boundaries aren't strong. It's this vicious cycle. And I guess that conversation made me realize that this vicious cycle needs to stop. And even if we are in the same boat, ask for help. All they're going to do is say no. And you're not in a worse off position if they say no. Unless they're a real about it, then really I just wouldn't ask them how their day is, let alone for help. Do you know what I mean? And I really wish I did learn that sooner, but learning it at all is better than not, I suppose. I was trying to think of something whimsical then, but I wasn't. As you can tell, I am clearly very tired. But yeah, all the marking is done because I did eventually ask for help, and locked in, as Shakespeare once said, as the kids say. Oh my God. It's been rough. I'm one of those people that need a little bit of short-term reward to keep going, and there hasn't been much of it because this admin work is so heavy. So that's been tough, and I know I've been a pain in the to all of my family and friends just being so stressed and highly strung. But sometimes the goal for the day is just to survive, and the job still gets done, I suppose. The job is done. I only have a week left with the kids before the school holidays. Then we have some staff days, and then that's it. I'm on 6-week holidays, and I've just been basically taking today to do tasks at home that I've been putting off since June. Oh my God. Like washing my car, I'm wrapping Christmas presents, all that sort of stuff. Just enjoying me, because I lost that in amongst this term. Maybe even last term, but especially this term. And it's been great. I've loved it. Yeah. But that's it really. I'm really hoping to utilize these 6-week holidays just to, reflect on what I've learnt this year, which is so much. If you would like me to do a podcast episode of all the things I've learnt this year, I can. And that actually might be really interesting to incorporate personal stuff in there too. So comment down below if you'd be interested in that. Yeah, I've just learned so much, and just sort of reflecting on that and working out what needs to change and what needs to continue from there. And I guess another thing that I've taken from this time is a lot of the strategies that we give our kids help us. We just are too busy on our high horse to realize. Like, my best friend and I hold each other accountable with a must, should, could list. So we must get this done today. If we finish that, we should get this done today. And if we get that done, we could do this today to get ahead. Now that's something I do with my year 7s. And I was like, you know what? This could work for me. And it has been, and it's been working for her as well. So we need to stop being on our high horses and actually take a page out of our book. Like, when they say psychologists can't get depressed, they just need to read their notes. It's almost a little bit like that. Like, yes, it is harder in practice than in theory, but we're not even doing the theory part. So yeah, just seeing what works and what doesn't, I guess, in these 6-week holidays and going from there. But obviously Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think that's where I struggle a lot. I really think that I can get it right first go, and then I realize I'm human. So, lame. Yeah, but I do have a lot of potential episode ideas that I would like to flesh out and record and publish during these 6-week holidays, and I've got some huge things coming for the new year. I think I have mentioned it before, but I'm organising to interview some teachers and work out how they survived their first 5 years, or if they are surviving their first 5 years. Basically, I just want to get as many experiences as possible to really inform you if you are thinking of being a teacher, or if you feel like you're alone in this journey, because newsflash, you're not. You've always got me. And you'll have all these people that I'm interviewing, which is awesome. Yeah, so hopefully I can get a little trailer out for that. It'll be a little bit exciting.
Teaching vibes were in the air, sharing knowledge.